So I have a sister, and we live with my mother and everything, and my father as well. So I can pretty much give you like a lot of examples from what they have been through and everything as well. I would start off by saying like my mother herself, she was a PhD student when she got married. So she got married, and then she got pregnant and everything. So she had to like give a PhD. That wasn't any pressure from my dad or something. My sister herself, she's like a double master's. She's done an MBA and an MSc in stats. And then if you look at like the outside world, like outside my house, the regular trend right now is like all like the girls, the women, they're going mostly for medical and like dental science. So there's like a lot of female doctors and dentists in the country, and this is more like fashion, So like back in like 80s, the fashion was okay. So the women will go to like arts university or arts colleges and like that. And right now, like in 2013, 2000, like in this year, it's more like the women will go to like medical and science field. I'm talking about like the big cities where I have lived and where I can like tell you about. What I know about the small or the rural areas, it's more like nobody really stops anyone from going to school or something like that. Like all you see like the Malala thing on the TV, like that's a true thing, because she lives close to the Afghan border, and the thing is like it's a very hilly area, so it's very hard for the government of Afghanistan and Pakistan to put like a fence wire or something to guard it like 24/7. So the Afghan people, when they get like pressure from the NATO forces and the American forces in Afghanistan, they just pour into Pakistan, just for safety, and then Pakistan is a sovereign country, so the NATO forces, the US forces cannot come in the country without the permission of the government to catch the Al Qaeda or the Taliban, people. So when they come in the country, then they do all those things, like blowing up schools, stopping those from going to schools and everything like that. And then they term it as something which the religion has told them to do. I'm like, dude, if the religion has told them, like if I asked you to stop girls from going to school, like why is like all the 180 million people living in Pakistan, are they like crazy sending their children to school and all like that? So it's like just a very small fraction of like people in that religious group who have like termed things of their own way, and they're like trying to portray what they think. So I was running a company back home as well, like an entertainment company. We used to do like fashion shows and all. And then I used to have a lot of like my class fellows and my friends and like other people from like other places to work with me in my company. And I think like since I've experienced that, I don't really think there's like a lot of discrimination, but there's always I don't know, there's always this like insecurity part, like which every woman carries in herself, even if you're living in like England, United States, and Pakistan, India, China, wherever you're living, every woman has that thing in her, that insecurity from men. So I think everyone carries that, and I've seen that over there, I've seen that over here, So I wouldn't really say there's like a lot of things. There might be a few cases. I don't really know anything about that, but I'm not really saying that it's entirely pure or something, I'm just trying to be like neutral, like by saying, like I've seen that in my thing, and then there might be something which I'm not aware of. Well, it's more like a joke, like if they say like if you come from India, Pakistan, China, like from the Asian countries, the first priority is you have to get into medical school. The second priority you have to get into an engineering school, if not a business school. Third, no option, you cannot go to school, Like it's just three things. That's the thing with me as well. Like I was a pre-student, so in Pakistan we follow the British education system, so you have to like prepare from the very start. So I got my high school at the University of Cambridge, England, and so you have to like select all your courses from the very start, from the very beginning. So they sort of like train you and everything, So if you're taking all the science courses, they're very tough and everything, and then you go on to get into the medical schools and everything like that. So I was in my till my grade 11, I was in medical as well, and so in like 12 and 13. And after that, I just gave up. I was like, hey dad, like I don't want to do. My dad was like, no, you have to be like that. So he had this thing for my sister as well. My sister did her thing, like her high school in medical as well. But she was like, I cannot do it. Then he imposed that on me. He's like, no, you have to do it now. I was like, no. So my sister got her education and everything. And then when I sat down with him and I was like, Dad, the thing is like, I don't really like doing what, I cannot even look at a blood drop. You're expecting me to become a doctor, like, in that, like, do operations and everything. I want to just faint and everything. So he was like, okay, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know, like, I'm more interested into arts and like film and media and like that. And then in the meanwhile, I was running my company as well. So he saw something in me like, okay, you're doing well, so I think you should go for what you want to do, and but do it well. So I was like, okay. So the population of Pakistan is 180 million, roughly. I read somewhere it was 193. Somebody says 200, but I would stick to 180 because that's what I read at CIA fact books. So in 180 million people, what we think is that it's only like not more than 1,000 people who are doing this, not more than. And then, like they're so it's more like, like if this is your body, you get just one pimple on your face, it ruins everything, right? So that's like how they're presenting us, like 180 million are represented by just 1,000 people. And that's like just ruining our own image.
Yeah.
So whenever like when I came here for the first time, I came with my mom. So we were at the New York airport and we had a connecting flight from New York to Salt Lake. And as soon as they saw my mother's passport, they just stopped her for like a security check and all that. And I was just standing there getting mad because it's not right, because we know like we're not something like that. So why are you blaming us for something we are not?
Right.
Okay. For the asset tax, they just passed a new law like last year or something. Well, it's illegal already, but they just like sort of remodified it, saying that okay, if you do that, you're gonna like get into jail for 5 years or something like that, or this is much fine. So it was already there, but they sort of remodified it, looking at the number of cases, and then it came down. I don't think there's a lot of cases like that, but we do read something about that in the newspapers in Pakistan, like about the domestic violence. It's not really too much into the newspapers, but I'm pretty sure it happens. It's not allowed in the religion, it's not allowed in the culture, it's not allowed, like anywhere in the constitution of Pakistan. But everything, I would bring everything back again to the education level. The more educated you are, the more liberal you are, the more open your brain is, and then you give equal respect and equal opportunity to everyone. The things which, for example, if the government imposes, or like for women, if you're traveling like on a public transport, like a bus or a train or something like that, so there's like a special designated place, like priority seating for women, even if there's like the bus is full with men, that place is empty. Nobody's gonna sit over there. That's just for women. If you go to a bank, you have a special counter for women, so they can just, so even if the line is like 100 people, one single lady, she can come and walk into the front and get her thing done and go back. So this is how the government gives respect. And the women play a very big part in like education sector as teachers and professors in Pakistan, especially because it's more like since women are given like a lot of respect, they're not allowed to do something. For example, like standing at the KFC counter, it doesn't look good. It's like the culture. So they wouldn't like, I wouldn't say allowed, but they wouldn't be like preference, given to women to stand at a KFC counter, or McDonald's, or selling something, anywhere. Because that's more like, like women is like a sacred thing, you cannot just put it on the road or something like that. And so that's what a lot of women, what they do is they either get like office jobs, when there's just one desk and computer and you're sitting and working over there, or they go to schools and teach over there. So my mother is a teacher as well. I'm not really a big scholar of the religion, but in the religion itself, it tells you, like the basic thing, the start of the world, where Adam and Eve came, So the thing which the Quran tells is that Eve came out from his rib, just because that she could be equal to Adam, not because God didn't bring her out from the head so that she could be like superior, or from the feet so that she could be inferior. He brought him out from the rib because so that she could be like equal. Adam could like, men could like protect them, and be equal, like it's like more like giving equality. So that's the way how it's looked like that. And then the culture plays a part in the sense that it's more like, so I don't know, it's more like, so you want to treat someone how you want yourself to be treated, like I remember since I was growing up, you know, like how everyone does, like, you know, like you look at a girl, a pretty girl, like, oh, you know, like, she's hot. So my mom was like, just imagine if somebody says that, you know, to your sister. So what do you do? I was like, I would get mad, you know. So she was like, exactly, you know, like he would get mad as well if she has a brother or something, you know. So then I realized, oh, you know, like that's not right. So I should probably be more modest towards this thing, you know. If I like someone, if she looks beautiful, I should just keep it inside, you know. So Pakistan got its independence in like 1947. That's the first case we ever heard in our country that somebody's stopping someone from going to school, you know. And then we were like, okay, you know, that's weird. And that's just because that part of Pakistan, which is right next to the Afghan border, it's like a war zone right now because Pakistan army is pushing Taliban from this side, the NATO forces on the other side from the Afghan border, they're pushing them from this side. So they're just in the center, and you know, like then when they get frustrated, they just start firing, blasting bombs and all like that. So the thing is that Pakistan was a very big tourist spot before the 9/11 and everything, and we used to generate, I don't know, some part of the economy from tourism because we have the second highest peak in the world, Mount K2. We have like a lot of good places to go and like live over there. And there's this place called Sawat, where Malala is from. Sawat is called the Switzerland of Pakistan because it's very beautiful and everything. So when the Taliban people, they started doing everything like that, like tourists, obviously they stopped coming to the country, which stopped the economy, and then it created like, so people who were related to the tourism industry, they lost their jobs, you know, they couldn't do anything because they weren't any tourists. So this is how the poverty all like increased a little more. And then obviously when you have something like, you have a bomb blast or something like that, and obviously it not really like kills people, it affects the economy as well, you know. Like for example, there's a blast outside a bank, for example, you know. It would close the bank down for, I don't know, for like a week or something like that until the investigations are just done, you know, and like that. So, and that affects a lot of people, and those people are really, you know, like connected to a lot of other things.